lock-up MVP this weekend, and what would a third MVP mean for his legacy?
Alex, it's already been done. It's already locked up.
Lock.
The key is gone.
It's a lock.
Aaron Rodgers has thrown away the key. He locked it up against Tennessee. I looked at that game as a deciding factor game, Mike. You come into that game, it's a cold weather game, and although you're at home, I'm looking at Tennessee like they're going to be too physical for them. They're going to be too physical on offense. It's going to keep them off the field. You're not going to see vintage Aaron Rodgers. They're going to take him on defense and be too physical, and it's going to make him uncomfortable. And all he did was go out there and snap out. And to me, that solidified a Rodgers that ranks first in TDs, a Rodgers that ranks first in quarterback ratings. Now, here's which one's interesting, because Pat Mahomes was in the conversation and pulled himself back into it, but turnovers, you know, I just feel like the way we're judging our MVPs now, which is quarterback heavy, and turnovers. Are you protecting the ball or are you not? Well, Pat Mahomes is 7th.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers, he's tied for 3rd. And the other guys that he's tied with and that are ahead of him, they're not MVP guys. So, of course, he's already locked that up. And as far as legacy, this would be his 3rd MVP crown. Let's think about the company he's keeping. Peyton Manning, Jim Brown, Johnny Unitas, Brett Favre is who we predecessed, and one Tom Brady. Those are goats of goats, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you would have to say that his legacy says he's a top 5 to 6 player of all time with that 3rd crown.
Yeah, top 5 of all time, guaranteed. He probably even less than that. Greg, call your boy Aaron Rodgers and tell him it's locked up this weekend. Tell him I said congratulations. Send love your boy away from Mike Vick, man. Look, man, Aaron Rodgers, you know, they're going to go into Chicago this week, and they're going to beat the brakes off Chicago. Right. It's going to be vintage Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot at stake in this game. And, you know, first of all, it's a divisional game. Greg, you know what it's like to play against Chicago Bears. You know how they get up for those games. And Aaron Rodgers with 44 touchdowns and 5 picks this year. The touchdown-interception ratio is always something that I've always hung my hat on, and it means that you're scoring more touchdowns and keeping the ball away from the defense, and Aaron has done a great job of that. And when you do that, you win at least 70% of your games. So, you know, Aaron has done a phenomenal job. Got to give credit to Matt LaFleur and, you know, Aaron Jones and every guy, Devontae Adams, everybody who's made a contribution to this team and their success this year. But it all started with Aaron Rodgers, and I think most importantly, the ability to do it with the 1st-round pick behind you on the sideline, ready to replace you.
I feel like Devontae Adams is probably the best receiver that he's ever had to throw the ball to, including... Nah, I'm messing with you, G. Hey, G.
Hey, we'll let G touch on that.
Nah, I'm messing with you. Yeah, you the man,
greatest
G.
One of the greatest Packers of all time.
Yeah.
G, you got the floor.
Yeah, go ahead, G. I'm messing with you.
Look, what will it mean for Aaron Rodgers? It would mean a lot. He obviously wants it. He's been in pursuit of it. He's outwardly spoken about it. Something that we haven't heard him do over the course of his career is speak about an individual accomplishment. But I believe the reason why he understands the magnitude of this is because it helps his team. It is what it is. It's the most valuable player. And when you look at what he's been able to do with less, I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes isn't a special player. He will always be in the MVP conversation. Hopefully we don't take him for granted because of his skill set. But Aaron Rodgers has done more with less than any quarterback, arguably, in his tenure with this Green Bay Packer team. And so every single year, if you take him away, we're not even talking about the Green Bay Packers. They're not in playoff discussion, and that's what an MVP player is. Now, as far as his legacy, I believe he wants the Lombardi trophies. He wants to add to that one that he already does have. When you think about the Green Bay, Brett Favre, who he took over for, Brett Favre got the Green Bay Packers to 2. He won 1, but he at least appeared in 2. Aaron Rodgers is seeking that more than the individual MVP conversations and the MVP trophies and awards. But we can talk about the team in their totality and possibly losing David Bakhtiari, that is what
big.
MVPs, that's when your MVP has to be just that. He has to be special, because if he doesn't have that guy on his blind side protecting him, we know Aaron Rodgers is one of one that could really eliminate that from being an issue moving forward. And Mike, I will bounce back on you on this. You said that the Green Bay Packers are going to destroy the Bears. And don't get me wrong, I understand where you're coming from, but I disagree. This Chicago Bears team is looking pretty good, and Mitchell Trubisky is playing a different style of game. I'm not saying that they win, but I like what I see out of the Chicago Bears. And this weekend, it has no bearings on the MVP conversation because of what Patrick Mahomes has not done over the last few weeks.
Greg, you know what I like about this game this weekend is the fact that Mitchell Trubisky has to show up. Like, he's going to play against the Green Bay Packers team who's fighting for the #1 seed, so he's going to get Green Bay's best. So I can't wait to see how Mitch responds. But the one thing I do like in terms of what you said was Aaron Rodgers getting that second ring. I think his legacy gets cemented with another ring. The MVPs and, you know, all the good stuff, you know, the Pro Bowls, it's all good. I mean, when you look at it on paper, you know, it matches his play. You know, his play has been flawless, like, for every year of his career. But to host that second trophy, I think will put Aaron Rodgers in the lineage with the all-time greats, just like you said, LeVar, and put him, you know, right where he needed to be as far as legacy, man, because, you know, it's all right there for him. It's staring him right in the face, and I think it's a line this year where he might have to beat one team, that might be the New Orleans Saints, to get that chip.
You know, it's interesting because they're sitting Pat Mahomes because they have the #1 seed locked up. So you already look at it as, well, they got the #1 seed locked up, but if they felt as though him playing could get him that MVP award, I wonder if they would have still played him. So I almost look at it like, hey, they conceded the fact that Aaron Rodgers is going to get it as well.
Right.
But I like to look at it also from a holistic standpoint as you guys are attacking it as well. You look at this running game. And I know we're saying, you know, Bakhtiari's gone down with the injury. I get that. God bless. Hope you feel better. Get back right. But this running game has shown to be a superior running game with multiple backs doing so. Aaron Jones, to me, right now, is just as dynamic, if not the most dynamic running back in the game outside of Alvin Kamara and Cook, right? So then you look at Dillon comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. That was a shocker.
He comes out of nowhere. It's like, where's this kid? He's going to mess up Aaron Jones' money. Because how you going to ask for money when you got that situation? Then you start looking at how Devontae Adams is playing and how well he uses his feet and how he was looking like he had like those all-terrain vehicle shoes, treads on. Like, how are you making people miss you, and how are you not slipping out there on the field? I'm looking at this supporting cast of Aaron Rodgers, and I'm saying to myself, it's pretty scary going into this last week of the season with them, because what's taking place right now is you're seeing a level of arrogance and confidence. And I call this type of arrogance, it's like superiority arrogance. It's not the kind that you look and you don't like them and it's like, I hope they lose. You're looking at the arrogance of this team like, you counted me out. That's why everybody was looking at the draft saying, okay, they bring in Jordan Love. You're counting me out because of this draft pick. All right, you're counting us out because you don't think that there's this great supporting cast around Aaron Rodgers. You're looking at this Green Bay Packers team and you're saying, I feel like they should be good and they might be good, but I don't know. Yeah, the same team that's one game away from playing in the Super Bowl a year ago with a new head coach. I tell you what, I'm looking at the confidence level of these guys, the supporting cast of these guys, and I'm excited about how dangerous this team looks, but ultimately how much it plays a part and why Aaron Rodgers has so much success on his way to his third MVP crown.
Yeah, G, what do you think this team has to do to get over the hump? I mean, I know this your former squad, and I know you got a lot of love for them, but if you can pinpoint one thing, what would it be?
For me, it's just win in the playoffs when it matters, period. Like, they've checked every box. Regular season, last year they go 13-3. They take their show on the road and get beat by a superior 49ers team and really beat up physically. Yeah. And so, LeVar, you talked about it right out the gate. We all thought this past week, that the Titans were going to brutally, physically outduel the Green Bay Packers, and they didn't. And now that they didn't, it's like, oh my goodness, wait a minute, this team is for real, for real. Mm-hmm. And I'll add this, and then I'll be done. The number one thing that's impressed me more than all the stats and numbers that Aaron has put up this year is his ability to buy in and commit to what Matt LaFleur has brought to the table and their understanding of what each other means and their value. That means so much when you look at this team and what's behind them and what they have on this roster to literally buy in and afford them an opportunity to be in the Super Bowl conversation. It was all about Aaron Rodgers. Would he allow his arrogance to be